Unseen warning. A dream's message for modern Muslims. Imagine waking up from a dream so real it felt like the Day of Judgment. A young Muslim saw the Ummah drowning in distractions, phones, fame, dunya, while the angels descended from the skies. A radiant figure told him, "Wake up before it's too late." He changed his life forever. What if this dream was your warning too? In the heart of a bustling modern city filled with lights, screens, and endless distractions, there lived a young Muslim named Ayaan. He was 26 years old, handsome, educated, and ambitious. Like many Muslims of his generation, his life was caught between two worlds, the dazzling attractions of the dunya and the gentle, but often ignored whisper of the deen. His phone was his constant companion. His nights were often spent scrolling endlessly, and the last time he truly cried in Salah was years ago. He wasn't a bad person. He gave charity sometimes, fasted in Ramadan, and even attended Jummah. But his heart was restless, and deep inside he felt something missing. One evening, after another day of deadlines and social media noise, he fell into a deep sleep. It was not an ordinary sleep. That night, he had a dream so vivid, so powerful, that it shook him to his core. In his dream, Ayaan found himself standing in a city that looked strangely familiar, yet frighteningly distorted. The buildings loomed higher than ever, glowing with screens, flashing advertisements, temptations, and endless distractions. Crowds of people rushed past him, their eyes glued to devices, their faces blank, as though they had lost the ability to feel. A strange uneasiness settled in his heart. He tried to call out, "Where am I? What is this place?" But his voice was drowned in the hum of machines. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet trembled. A loud horn blasted across the sky. The crowd around him froze. Some people dropped their devices. Others clutched their ears in pain. Ayaan looked up and saw the sky splitting open with light and fire. Angels, majestic, terrifying, and overwhelming, descended from the heavens. The scene was unlike anything he had ever imagined. The Day of Judgment had arrived. People screamed. Some fell on their knees. Others ran, but there was nowhere to hide. Ayaan's heart raced. He tried to run too, but his legs felt like stone. He turned and saw rivers of people being herded, some glowing with light, others dark with despair. He felt a tug on his arm. It was a figure cloaked in white, with a face too radiant to look at directly. The figure spoke in a voice that shook his soul. "Ayaan, this is not a dream you can ignore. This is a warning. Wake up before it is too late." Ayaan tried to respond, but the figure raised a hand, and suddenly scenes began flashing before his eyes. He saw Muslims of today, millions distracted by worldly pleasures, chasing likes and followers instead of the pleasure of Allah. He saw families gathered around TV screens, forgetting the Quran on dusty shelves. He saw masajid empty at far, while cafes and clubs overflowed at night. He saw Muslims arguing online about trivial matters, but failing to stand united for their deen. Tears filled his eyes. "Why are you showing me this?" Ayaan asked, his voice breaking. The radiant figure replied, "Because you still have time, but time is running out. The Ummah is sleeping while fire approaches from every direction. Allah's mercy is vast, but his justice is certain. Will you rise, or will you fall with the heedless?" Before Ayaan could answer, the ground split open. He saw people being dragged into darkness, screaming for help, begging for another chance. He saw others soaring into the light, their faces radiant with peace. His heart pounded. He wanted to be among those saved, but he felt chained, heavy with sins he had neglected to repent for. The radiant figure leaned closer and whispered, "Your generation is distracted, Ayaan. Wake them up. Tell them. Remind them. Return before you are returned." With that, Ayaan jolted awake. His heart was racing. His pillow was wet with tears. He looked around his room. His phone buzzed with notifications, the glow of the screen tempting him. But for the first time, he ignored it. He fell on the prayer mat, shaking, and prayed far with a sincerity he hadn't felt in years. Every verse pierced his heart. Every sajda felt like healing. Days turned into weeks, but the dream never left him. He began reading Quran daily, not just with his lips, but with his heart. He started attending the masjid again. Slowly, people noticed a change in him. His friends asked, "Why are you different now?" He hesitated at first, afraid they would laugh. But then he remembered the radiant figure's words, "Wake them up." So, he began telling his story. At first, only a few listened. Some mocked him, but others felt something stir in their hearts. They too began to reflect, to return, to reconnect with Allah. His story spread. It became a reminder for hundreds, then thousands, as he shared it online. Not for fame, but for dawah. People across the world wrote to him, saying, "Your dream woke me up. I was lost, but now I've returned to Salah." But Ayan never claimed it was about him. He always said, "It was Allah's mercy. He warned me, so I warn you. Tomorrow is not promised. The unseen is closer than we think." One night, months later, Ayan sat under the stars after Isha, reflecting on his journey. He whispered a dua through tears, "Ya Allah, let me never forget the warning you showed me. Let me die as a believer, and let my ummah rise again in your light." A soft breeze brushed his face, and in his heart, he felt a peace he had never known before. And so, Ayan's story lives on, a reminder to every Muslim in this modern age drowning in distractions. Sometimes, Allah sends warnings through the unseen, through dreams, through moments that pierce the soul. The question is, will we wake up before it's too late? If this story touched your heart, don't just scroll away. Let this be your sign to return to Allah today. Pray, repent, reconnect before it's too late. Subscribe to Deen in Minute for more powerful reminders. And together, let's wake up an ummah that has been sleeping too long.